Very good afternoon and welcome to today's home of football. For the final time this season, I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me here at Anfield, as you can see, is the Hall of Famer Andy Thompson. And in from home is the former Wolves women defender Claire Hakeman as well. We'll be joined by Tim Spears between now and kick-off from The Athletic. We're going to talk about our favourite memories of the season. Feel free to send us yours in as well. If you're on Twitter, use the hashtag WolvesLive, and we'll pick those up and read some of them out a little bit later on as we build up to kick off on the final day of the Premier League season. It's a big weekend for Wolves in lots of different ways. We'll talk about this game in a second. Tomorrow night is the under-23s, their playoff promotion final. It's at Molineux. If you want to be there, wolves.co.uk is the place to go to register for your tickets. They are free if you're a season ticket holder, and there's a small charge if you are not. And yesterday, part one of our triple bill weekend, fortunately, Wolves women were beaten by Southampton in their playoff final. Claire, you were alongside me at Edgeley Park yesterday, and I know you travelled back with the team last night. Just give us a quick insight before we start talking about today of just the disappointment, really, at the end of what was a magnificent season, just didn't pan out the way they wanted to at the very end.
Yeah, I think the girls were a little bit disappointed yesterday off the back of that result. Obviously, it was a huge opportunity for them. But obviously, like we said at the start of the game, it wasn't expected at the start of the season that they'd even compete at the top end of that league. They wanted to secure the status within the National Northern Division, and they more than did that with the County Cup win along the way, as well as winning the division. So they did fantastically to get to that point, and I think the girls will take a lot of credit for the fact that they were so strong throughout the season. They really pushed on. They scored a lot of goals, didn't concede many. They finished 8 points clear of the next team. So it was a fantastic season all round. I think they've got to take the positives, and I think last night was very much like they'll push on from here. They'll take that disappointment from yesterday. It obviously hurt them, but they'll take that to build and come back even stronger next season.
As you can see, people are trying to get past us. We're up in the gantry, and I should point out before anyone mentions it as well that Tomo is on Wi-Fi rather than being hardwired in. So if he goes a bit pixelated, everybody don't worry. It's not just the end of the season and he's been kind of beamed away by some extraterrestrial life force that he generally does most summers. It's just he's on Wi-Fi and something completely different. Let's talk about today, Tomo, or rather start by talking about last week, because there is, I guess, a feeling nobody really inside this stadium, bar a couple of thousand in the away end and us two up here, are that fussed about the way Wolves play today. But you get the feeling that in order for us to have a feel-good factor going into the summer, we kind of need to perform a bit better than we have done in recent weeks.
Yeah, it is. So, look, I'm just speaking to you off air there. So, look, since February, results haven't been great. I think it's about 10 defeats, 2 draws, and only 5 wins since February. So it just shows you about the form that we've actually been in, the performances that we've done with the results. But look, so it's all about today, isn't it? So look, just trying to finish the season on a high. So look, it's going to be a difficult game. I think Liverpool are the only team that we haven't took any points off since we've been back in the Premier League. I think we got them in the FA Cup game, but apart from that, so look, we haven't done very well against Liverpool. Look, so we're coming today. Just coming into the ground, you saw I've seen what the fans were like, the atmosphere. They still think they've got half a chance to get that championship. So we Man City playing Villa today, but again, I say it's all about just making sure that we just finish it as best we can today.
It's one of those situations, Claire, whereby and we might talk about this a little bit more later on, but Wolves have had a really good year. Everybody else, you talk to anyone here and they're kind of wondering why there is a feeling around Wolves that we've not done as well as we could have done, because existentially we are likely to finish top 10, potentially finish top 8. That's a really good turnaround. It just that feels that because we had such a good spell after Christmas and we thought we were going to be in for a run to the top 4, maybe we all got a bit carried away, that it feels like it's drifted away at the end.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think everyone has got probably a little bit carried away with that form that we had in January and early February, where, we beat some top teams off the back of the Man United win, came the Spurs win. fantastic results. We were on a high. We were performing well. But it just kind of got a little bit flat. I think the Leeds game at home kind of drove a little bit of change as well, where things didn't go our way. We totally should have taken all the points there, and the game ran away from us. And it was disappointing. I think from then on in, I think we've struggled a little bit. I think performances have been a bit flat. We haven't scored masses of goals, and I think one of the things that's unusual for us is that the fact that we haven't scored many goals, we haven't quite looked at the races quite a few times in recent weeks, and performances have been a little bit frustrating, and you can see almost the players getting frustrated as well. I think it is a little bit of end of season sort of attitude, the way things happen, but I just think we've got to really take this game as it is, and Liverpool are desperate for the win. They want to compete, they want to try and get the win and see if Man City can slip up, but we want to perform today. It'd be great to finish on a good solid performance and try and take the game a little bit to Liverpool as well.
We'll talk more about Liverpool specifically in the situation that we find ourselves in here at Anfield, which is eerily similar to a situation when Tomo and I were here a couple of seasons ago. As I say, it's a big weekend. The under-23s playoff final tomorrow night against Stoke at Molineux. Please, if you can get down to Molineux and give your support to the team. Claire and I were at the Hawthorns, just 2 weeks ago, really, or just less than that now, isn't it? Crazy. Feels like a lot longer ago. For the Premier League Cup final, where there were 7,000 people there, 2,000 travelling Wolves fans, 5,000 home fans. It made a massive difference to the standard of the game and the feeling of it and the emotion and everything that went through in there. You have the power to put your support behind our under-23s and roll them over the line in terms of getting promoted to Premier League 2 Division 1. If you can be there, wolves.co.uk to get your tickets. If you can't, it'll be live on Wolves TV for you. Let's have a look back at the best of last time out against Norwich, and we'll talk more about the season that we've had coming up short. And here's Teemu Pukki into the penalty area, challenging John Ruddy, lifts it over him, but lifts it wide of the far post. Here's Pukki again, trying to get him behind Willy Bolly, and the flag has stayed down, and it's Teemu Pukki, and what a good save by John Ruddy, and a brilliant follow-up challenge by Totti to clear the ball. Launches the ball downfield in the direction of Pukki. Cody wins the header. Jimenez gets to it. Jimenez turns and volleys, and he loops it. Just not enough dip on it to drop it in underneath the crossbar. Here's Pukki again, right hand side of the penalty area for Norwich. Going infield on his left foot this time. Low effort into the corner at the near post, and Norwich lead. Now then, that's a loose pass. Pedro Neto pouncing on it. Neto up towards the edge of the box. Can he find room to shoot? He does, and it's over the top of the crossbar. Coutinho is the one who takes it. Totti was arriving. Still Totti trying to find some space and comes towards Nouri's header. It's in! Wolves are level. Raine Nouri ends his long goal drought and gets Wolves back on level terms. Into the Mexican, who turns and feeds it out to Chiquinho on the right hand side, sets himself to whip in across, inviting! Oh, what a save! Tipped over the crossbar.
Unbelievable ball.
Pedro Neto stooping down. Flicked by Moutinho. Neves can't hang on to it. Pukki going past Johnny. Pukki into the penalty area, left-footed shot, dragged wide of the far post. Nice footwork down the line for Fabio Silva. Flicked onto Chiquinho. Chiquinho trying to force his way through and scoops it onto Fabio Silva. Hits the area, tries to square it across, comes out towards Neves. Neves lines one up. Has to leave it for João Moutinho. Closed down, too many bodies in front of him. Rowe with a corner, right footed from the left-hand side. Ripped high towards the far post. Oh, it was a header from Hanley that went over the top of the crossbar, and that's the final action. The 21-22 season at Molineux comes to an end, thankfully, without the 3 defeats in a row at which it started. So this is the lineup that Bruno has selected for the final day of the season. There is a return for the Player of the Year, Jose Sarr in goal, and Hee Chan Hwang drops to be on the bench, and into his place comes Leander Dendoncker as Wolves strengthen up in midfield for this final day battle at Anfield. So it'll be Jose Sarr in goal, Willy Bolly, Conor Cody and Totti the back three, Johnny and Ray Nouri the wing backs, Leander Dendoncker, Ruben Neves and João Moutinho in midfield, with Raul Jimenez and Pedro Neto up top. Tomo, I guess we always thought Jose Sarr would come back in. It was a lovely moment for John Ruddy to play in that game. It's not confirmed, by the way. I spoke to John Ruddy after the game. Even he doesn't know the situation that, as things stand with him, whether that was his final Wolves appearance or not. But Jose Sarr coming back in, always to be expected today.
Yeah, he was, yeah. So, look, I think it was a nice touch that he's played John against his old team last week. And look, he's been a great servant to the club, hasn't he? He's never let us down. So we'll remember that championship season, so where he was outstanding. And again, he's a very good goalkeeper. So it's interesting to see that nothing's been sorted with him. As you said there, he doesn't know what's going on. But again, Sarr was always going to come in. Number one, he got Player of the Year for Wolves last week when he was announced on the pitch. And he's had an outstanding season. And look, I know I said about the results earlier on, but if you look at it, if you said to me at the beginning of the season, because a lot of people were doubting us, if you finish in the top half of this division this year, you would have took it all day. And say again, we're just disappointed that some of the performances haven't been as good as we want them. But they've still finished off in a great position, at least 10.
Well, there's an interesting situation, I guess, Claire, in that, the under-23s, as I keep mentioning, have this final tomorrow. So that's why you're not going to see the likes of Luke Cundle and Chem Campbell and others, maybe, who could have got an opportunity. But also, in terms of the integrity of the league, right? That if you're Manchester City, you don't just want Wolves to come here and roll over. You want them to come and play the game properly in terms of the destination of the Premier League title. So anybody who kind of thought that Bruno was going to come here and experiment, they might be a tad disappointed, but they shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think exactly that. And you want to play it out, and we want to finish on a high, really. I think you've got to finish with a positive performance, especially after the frustrations of the previous weeks. Obviously, we've had, in the last five, two draws and the rest are losses. And a little bit before that with some disappointing performances as well. So I think you've got to go for a positive end, especially with the potential of some players finishing up. And I think you've got to go for the solidity in midfield. I think with the three players in there, with Dendoncker, Neves and Moutinho, I think that keeps us solid. And I think that's what they're going to kind of do. I wouldn't say we're necessarily going to park the bus, but I think we're probably going to try and keep it solid, keep it nice and tight, and have some breakout moments. I'm maybe a little surprised that Podence didn't feature today, but I can understand exactly why he's gone for this lineup. And I think the back three, I'm pleased with that selection, because I think that's probably the back three that I would have selected going forward. And it's great to see Totti getting his opportunity again.
Yeah, and he has Daniel Podence on the bench. He has Francisco Trincao on the bench and Fabio Silva, Chiquinho and Hee-Chan Huang. So there are plenty of attacking options on the substitutes bench, should they, I guess, still be in the game with a certain period to go, although me and Tomo are never going to get out of the stadium alive if Wolves end up taking points off Liverpool and it costs them the title. We've already, I don't know about Tomo.
I'm standing well behind you, mate.
Well, I'll tell you, even on the way into the car park, being very much made aware that we are not supposed to come here and get anything today. Yeah. But, football is strange sometimes and it can turn things around. Bruno is well aware of the situation that his side finds itself in going into this final weekend of the campaign. Of course, two brilliant teams are going for the title. We're up against one of them. Here's what Bruno said when he faced the media this week.
Bruno, you performed well at the big teams this year. You got results at Tottenham, Manchester United, pushed Manchester City all the way. Are you and the players looking forward to this one in terms of having an impact on the final day and where the title may go? And just your assessment on this Liverpool side and how good are they?
I will start with them. So it's a pleasure to watch what the way they play. It's a pleasure to watch the way they play, and it's a pleasure to watch what these two teams, and they will fight until the end for the championship, because what Man City are doing and Liverpool are doing in every competitions, the level every time high. They play in three games. It's so hard for these managers, for these players. That's why they are so special, because just special guys, they can do this, and they are maybe the best teams in the competition, maybe the best teams in the world. So will be exciting to be involved of this situation, and for us is another good moment to play against this strong team. A manager is like a big reference in the world, so it will be a pleasure, and we go there to try to give for us a different image that we did in the last 6 games. That's the most important thing. We have a good record on away games. We have a good performance against these kind of teams, and we go there with that ambition to play the way we like to play in the mythic stadium. So that's the main target for us on Sunday.
It's the final day of the Premier League season and there is still so much to be decided at both ends of the table. Today we are here at Anfield to face Liverpool, who are still in the title race. Just 1 point separates them and Manchester City at the top of the table. So Jurgen Klopp's side are today going to be looking to capitalise on any of City's slip-ups in their match with Aston Villa. Wolves, however, are coming into today sat in 8th after what has been a difficult set of results towards the end of the season. And in recent years, we've struggled against Liverpool as well. Our last 6 meetings have ended in losses, and we lost out in that reverse fixture at Molineux to that cruel 90th minute winner from Divock Origi. But today, perhaps it's our turn to cause an upset on the final day of the Premier League season. It's been a roller coaster of a campaign, and it all comes to an end here today, this afternoon. And fans across the world are going to be watching this match to see what happens. So let's go out with a bang.
Gemma Frith down at pitch side a little bit earlier, as she mentions. It's been a roller coaster of a season, right? It often is when you watch Wolverhampton Wanderers, and especially when we all had to watch Tomo play through the early 90s. Talk about a roller coaster. Anyway, you can send us your messages and your thoughts, basically, on your favourite moments of the season. Use the hashtag Wolves Live on Twitter, at Mikey Burrows, at Wolves. Let us know what you think. And I was kind of thinking about potential highs of the season, really, the best moments of the season. And do you know what? They're not always on the field. And so we thought we'd look back on one of the very best moments off the field, when João Moutinho made one young Wolves fan's day. Let's take a look.
Hi Archie, I hope you enjoy being a mascot tomorrow. I'll see you there.
Come and see him again this side.
Bye. Give five.
The fist bump. Fist bump. I say thank you for coming to see me.
A lovely moment from this season, and it just goes to show that no matter what happens on the field, sometimes life is more important than football, and football can bring such happiness to everybody who engages with it. It's a really lovely story, and there's so much of that that goes on. Let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff on the field, though, that we've seen this year. As you can see, Tim Spears of The Athletic has joined us. Tim, I'll come to you first. We're kind of here on the final day with nobody really inside this stadium expecting Wolves to come and do anything, but a win would go kind of some way to summing up what Wolves have been like this year. Completely unpredictable at times and still capable of producing good results.
Well, I think we saw that at Chelsea 2 weeks ago, just how that they're still capable of performing at a very high level against good teams, even in this poor run of form. And yeah, we're not expecting them to get anything today, but they did push Liverpool all the way to the 95th minute, the other side of Christmas. Same with Man City as well around that time. They've won away at Man United, they've won away at Spurs, they've pushed Arsenal all the way as well. Historically, over the past 4 seasons, this team really have risen to the big occasion on the big stage. They enjoy it. I think, from speaking to some of the players, and Conor Cody was saying recently that, the criticism that they've received has really stung them and really hurt them. I think we saw the reaction to that at Chelsea. Last 2 games have been really disappointing for very different reasons. But I do expect them to certainly give their all today. There'll be no lack of effort like we have seen in a couple of occasions recently. The Brighton game that comes to mind, but I think he's selected his strongest 11 today, and hopefully they can put on a show in front of what will be their biggest audience of the season. That's for sure. There'll be a massive worldwide audience watching them today.
Yeah. You mentioned Chelsea away. I guess that's up there. But what would you say, Tim, was your highlight of the campaign?
It's got to be Man United away. For me personally, having been there a few times to watch Wolves lose and last-minute defeats and 11 changes under Mick McCarthy, and that was other than winning here, that's the one thing that they hadn't done. But it was the manner they did it, Mikey. They should have won 3-4-0 that day. I think they'd had the most shots any opposition team had at Old Trafford since records began back in 1994 or 2000, whenever the records began. We don't know, but since records began. It was a stunning performance. I know it was quite a late winner from Martina, but my God, they deserved it that day. It was right at the start of the year, wasn't it? Just when they were in that purple patch, people were still dreaming of the top 4 at that time as well. It was an absolutely fantastic day. And
of course, there was a massive moment at the end of that game that we're going to see now, where Jose Sarr, the Player of the Year, stepped up and produced something incredible, really, Tomo. And really, at this point, Jose Sarr was almost unbeatable.
Yeah, again, so look, I know he's had a couple of moments in recent weeks, but he has been outstanding since he come in. So Patricio going was a big shock for people. As like quality goalkeeper, and we was wondering who's going to come in. And look, he's come in straight away, and he's just showed the quality that he's got. He looks comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's confident, and you can see there with a great save from there as well. And that could have been the decider for Man United to get themselves back into it. But look, I just think that he's had a great season. He got Player of the Year, as I touched on last week, and it just shows you how well he's took to coming to Wolves and the way that he's played. And hopefully, look, if we can see some more improvements in him, because he's already been outstanding this year.
Claire, what would you say was your highlight of the season?
I'd probably be with Tim on the Man United one, but I think the Spurs away victory as well, with Kundal making his debut in that game as well and seeing that through for the win was fantastic, as well as obviously the double over Villa and the comeback against Villa as well, because we looked down and out in that game, and then obviously Cody popping up and then Neves deflected strike, but we'll take that. A 3-2 win at Villa is always enjoyable, and then to do the same and at Molineux as well and beat them there was fantastic. But there has been so many positives. It's just those sneaky little bits, isn't it, where you're talking about we just don't score enough goals. I think like Like, the facts are there. I looked through I was very sad this morning and looked through all the stats of all the goal scorers, top goal scorer for every Premier League club, and there's only Newcastle that have got Callum Wilson on 6 goals, with Jimenez on 6 goals. Every other team has players that are scoring more goals than we are. We just haven't scored enough, and I think that's key for us. The bottom 4 teams, I think, have scored less goals than us, and that's just been the problem for us all season. We haven't been conceding many, least goals conceded outside the top 4, but it's just that goal scoring. We need to get some goals on. The enjoyable moments will come if we score goals.
Yeah, and Tim, that's quite clear, isn't it? And I wonder how much, when you speak to Bruno, as Liverpool make their way off the field, by the way, that's the big roar behind us, how much, Bruno, I guess, is well aware, everybody at the club is well aware, that goals and finding a way to score more has got to be the key thing that they've all got to work towards through this summer.
Well, I remember when I first sat down with Bruno last July or August, just after he'd taken the job, and he was introduced to the media for sort of an hour-long sit-round with the local press. And the standout quote from that day, which made it into the headline that we ran with on The Athletic, is Bruno Lage says, "Football is nothing without goals." Now, I've been hesitant to rub that in to him every single week since then, when they've been scoring fewer than everybody and conceding fewer than everybody. Because, the amount of 0-0s and 1-0s they've had, I mean, they went binary for a few months before Christmas. It was ridiculous, really. That's been the issue for 2-3 seasons now, goals. And we saw Nuno try to fix it when he went 4 at the back last season, and that just opened up holes in the defence. I think we saw Bruno try and fix it in pre-season with the style that he was looking to implement in the first few games. What he's realised is he hasn't got the players, he doesn't believe, to do that. So that's a massive thing this summer, but it's a massive thing for the recruitment team and for Jeff Shee and for Scott Sellers, not just for Bruno, because he's only a part and a proportion of that particular team. So recruitment has been iffy, I would say, for 2-3 years now. We talk about Jose Sarr. I think that's a phenomenal piece of business. We all thought it might be a downgrade on Patricio, but they've actually made money and landed a better goalkeeper. But other than that, recruitment has been iffy, and they've already bought Hwang, and there are already question marks, over him from a lot of supporters. So for me, yes, Bruno's got a massive job on his hands, but it's the team around him at the top that have got the even bigger job this summer to secure the players that he needs.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the most interesting summers ahead. Just before I let you go, almost a one-worder from each of you, really, on your player of the year. Obviously, Jose Sarr got the players' player and the supporters' vote last week. I don't know whether anyone's going to differ away from those choices. Tomo, would you give it to Jose Sarr? Was he your personal player of the year?
Possibly, yes. he's had quite a bit of work to do this year, which has been the problem as well. But look, we've defended well. We've not conceded a massive amount of goals, and it's come because he's had a good season. And as Tim just touched on there, I know that people were concerned when Patricio left, but for me, Sarr's come in. He's better with his feet at the back as well, and playing that ball out from the back. And he has had an outstanding season. So he's done really well, and he's slotted straight in. But look, we all know that we've got to recruit better in the summer. And strengthen. Players are leaving, so it'll be interesting to see what's going to go on.
Claire, Jose Sarr for player of the year. Ruben Neves.
I was just going to say, Ruben Neves is just immense, and generally when he plays well, so do we. His range of passing is unbelievable. So he's always the one that I look for. I think the other one, if he'd have seen out the season injury-free, would have been Kilman. More for his impact and how he's come on this season, from being like a bit part player to establishing himself firmly in that back three. I think he's been immense. He's had a fantastic season.
Yeah, August to January, Tim, it would have been Kilman, right? And then across the whole campaign, probably, right, Jose Sarr, but Neves for a middle period in there, unreal as well.
I don't know what more you want me to say. You've summed it up brilliantly, as always, Mikey.
Yeah. So basically, we can't really pick just one. There's a number of players, and that goes to show it's been a good year. Tim Spears, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for all your time that you've joined us on Matchday Live Extra. Have a great summer, my friend. We'll have more from Claire and Tomo in just a second, but let's take a quick look back on what happened when these two met earlier on in the season at Molyneux.
Now then, Hwang
pouncing onto a loose ball from Van Dijk, onto Jimenez in the penalty area. He smashed it goalwards and eventually the offside flag. Mane, Robertson is blocked off by Neves. It'll come for Thiago, who tries to lift it into the danger zone, and Alexander-Arnold with a clear view of goal. Little flick from Salah. Mane to the right-hand side to Alexander-Arnold. He tries to lift it towards the far post, headed goalwards and just wide. Big opportunity for the birthday boy, Diogo Jota. And Traore away from two and finding Jimenez, who now looks to run over the halfway line through the middle of the Liverpool half to the left-hand side to Aït-Nouri looking to play the cross towards Traore, and Alisson did just enough. Cesar collects it on the right-hand side of his box and immediately looks to launch it downfield with Van Dijk isolated, Traore chasing him, and Van Dijk is being nudged back to the corner flag, and Traore has robbed him. It's Traore into the penalty area, trying to tee it up for Hwang, and Hwang still going but forced wide, takes a tumble, and it will be a Liverpool goal kick. At the other end, Jose Sarva's come and missed it, and Jota into the penalty area. It's Diogo Jota. It's saved off the line. That's an unbelievable clearance. Oh my word, Connor Cody. He heads it to the edge of the box. Fabinho for Salah, outside of his left boot, headed away by Dendoncker, put back into the danger zone, comes to Mane. Oh, what a chance, and what a stop. 90 seconds remaining. Apologies, Tomo. You can't take your eyes off this. As Salah into the penalty area, right hand side of the box, trying to pull it across. Origi on the turn. Oh no! Oh no! Devastating heartbreak as Liverpool snatch a goal at the death that may well earn them all 3 points. All Wolves' hard work ends in heartbreak.
Liverpool on Sunday. A lot of eyes on that game. Will Ivory Coast and Man City legend Yaya Toure be happy with you if you help Manchester City lift the trophy?
No. I think he doesn't care. He just wants having a good game on both sides. So we know that against Liverpool is always a tough game, very tough game. So I think he doesn't care.
Has the challenge of facing Diogo Jota changed much since you used to go up against him in training here, but also at Porto every week?
I was with him in Porto. Even when I was in Braga, he was in Passos, and it was already difficult. So it's like 6 years ago. So I have an anecdote to say. He received the ball, he was in the middle, and I tried to press him, and he wasn't looking at me, and he controlled the ball out of my way, and I was like, what is that? What is that? So in that touch, I knew that he was a fantastic player. And after the game, I said to, there is one guy there, he was the second coach. I said why you don't take this player? He's very, very good. In the season after, I was with him in Porto, and in the training, he was difficult all the time. So he's a very clever guy, and he's a hard guy to play against.
Not surprised to see him do so well.
No, not at all.
Willy Bolly looking forward to facing his old teammate Diogo Jota. Your moments, highlights of the season. Stuart says getting to 40 points. Greg says the comeback win at Villa. Dean says Raul's goal against Southampton as a moment. That was special. Nothing but Neto says beating Man United. One here says has to be the Chelsea game. All the comments saying the players didn't care. They've shown us that in fact they did care. One here says the Neves goal against Watford, all-time feel-good moment. Daniel says Villa away for sure, with the Neves goal at the very end of the game was absolutely unreal. And Matt says United away, not just the result but the performance and the whole away day were just perfect. Very quickly, Claire Hakeman, are they going to repeat the feat and stun Anfield and win the game today? What do you think?
I think it's a huge task, isn't it? I think it's a really tough one, to be honest, today. I think scoring goals is key, and I think we need to go and try and get that goal early, and maybe then obviously protect it as much as we can. You know, defensively at times this season we've been really solid, so we need to go back to remembering how good we were defensively and defend as a pack with that, you know, the three in midfield in front as well, protecting it. But I think it's going to be a tough day at the office, isn't it, today? I think it'll be a big challenge for us. But, you know, Wolves have pulled out some brilliant away performances against some big teams over the last few seasons. So I don't think we'd ever say, you know, you never say never, do you?
Tomo, you got 10 seconds. Are they going to do it today, yes or no?
Yes, I'm going to go for it. I can't go against them, can I? I've been going 2-1 most of the season, so why not? I'm going it again.
Okay, brilliant. Tomo, thank you very much indeed. Claire Hakeman, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to all the pundits that we've had on Matchday Live Extra this season. And most importantly, thank you to you for watching and supporting what we've been trying to do week in, week out, every single first team game. We've been here. There will be full live commentary as ever available at wolves.co.uk and on the move wherever you are in the world via the Wolves app as well. Hopefully we can sign off in style, but no matter what happens today, it's been another campaign to remember. Thanks for being a part of it.